Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Welcome to the Thursday morning Chrissy Flow. This is my last sutra, so for the past 4 weeks I've been running through the initial sutras, which are the philosophical underpinning for the modern asana practice. Sutra 4 is about unity. So Sutra 1 and 2 are kind of standalone, and then Sutra 3 or 4 kind of expand upon Sutra 1 and 2. So, Sutra 4, Vritti Sarupyam Ittaratra. What does that mean? Translates as, at other times, the self appears to assume the forms of the mental modifications. So the sutra before that read, then the seer abides in its own nature. So just to give you a little bit of context, the first sutra now begins the experience of yoga, so it's an experiential practice. The second sutra, yoga is mind modification awareness. And when we're present and when we're aware of our mind, that's when we can abide in our essential nature. And what this fourth sutra is saying is sometimes that doesn't happen, you know? And then the rest of the sutras go on to explain how we can come back to these first two sutras. And this is really important because it's not an easy practice. And this sutra in particular is a lot about identity, identifying with things outside of ourselves, which includes gender, race, it includes family role, affiliation, relationship, all those things that you feel define you, your job, and kind of peeling back those layers to just to see what's left, like what's left when you peel it all back. And it can kind of be a scary thing, like that nothingness that you feel into, that emptiness, which is also paradoxically so full. And one of my teacher, Simon Borg-Olivier, really talks about doing less. He talks about thinking less, speaking less, breathing less, stretching less, and tensing less in the practice. And I think it's really important that yoga be something that's emptying, and that's what we're going to look at today. At the moment in India, there's a festival known as Navaratri, which is a 9-day festival during the transition of seasons, which really looks at shedding the layers of ourselves that we don't want to take forward with us. And so my invitation for the practice today is to do less. It's going to be quite a therapeutic focus, so not so much a strength-based practice, but at the same time, a therapeutic practice also needs to be supportive. So I invite you to support yourself when necessary, and relax where possible. Great philosophy for the practice. That's a lot of speaking. We're going to start on our backs. I didn't actually say, but we do need straps. So run. Sorry, I totally forgot. We're going to begin with a therapeutic hamstring cycle. So this hamstring cycle will begin on our backs. And this is not really looking for a stretch, which changes the heart rate or modifies the breath. Today, I want you to release Ujjayi breath, no Ujjayi breath. If it's a habit, that's okay. If it comes up, that's okay. But we're looking to release Ujjayi breath to come into the natural breath, which almost during meditation sometimes can spontaneously dissipate. That's the kind of breath that we're looking for. Planting the left sole of the foot down, take the right foot to the sky. You can even wrap the strap around the hands so you don't have to hold the hands. Meet the first point of resistance in the stretch, and then do less. So feel physically the body soften. Feel a sense of intrinsic softness, so you're noticing the energetic body settle. And for me, Manomaya Kosha, the mind, rather than trying to force or stop the thoughts, I'm just bringing awareness in. And from that awareness, the grip of the mind just gently loosens, and I can be with whatever's present for me. And then gently looking towards the right foot, want you to imagine that in the distance there was a little UFO, and you're just going to wave your foot at that UFO. So you're just kind of moving your foot from side to side, very gently. I'd say like 3 centimeters to the right, 3 centimeters to the left. And you have this gentle softening at the hip socket. The femur bone is kind of massaging all those tiny muscles that might be a little bit tense in your deep hip. And again, this is really passive. If you feel any tension accumulating in the upper body, send a conscious energy of relaxation, of softening. Bringing both sides of the strap now into the right hand, lengthen the left leg long and plant the left hand onto the left hip bone. Let's take the right leg out to the side. So I'm resting my tricep on the ground because I have the mobility in my leg to feel a gentle stretch here. If you need it a little bit higher, take it a little bit higher. And you're going to use the muscle of the right leg just to come out slightly and then back in. So by out, I mean like a little bit closer towards the midline and then back to where you were. So again, there's a sense of massaging deep within the hip socket. Also, a turning of the heel in the direction of the ceiling to move into deeper external rotation can be a nice way to massage. And if you notice the heart rate or the breath beginning to change, just calm the movement a little bit. Gently draw your leg back to center, both sides of the strap into the left hand. Right thumb to right hip crease. Push the top of the right thigh forward. Top of the right thigh forward and down so the hip lowers slightly. And then take your leg over towards the left, keeping the right side of the hip grounded. It's not very far, depending upon how mobile you are. And this time you use your left hand, just drawing it slightly back to the midline, and then back to the stretch. So for me, these sensations in the deep hip socket are really grounding. They allow me to connect to my lower body in a way that's conducive to softening. And they make my body feel heavy. Beautiful, and when you're ready, draw your leg back to the midline. Just a very gentle core awakener, just grabbing both strap sides and gently lifting your forehead towards your knee. This is not about your hamstring, this is a gentle engaging of your core. Lower down, swap sides. Plant the right sole of the foot down, loop the strap around the hands, and relax, meeting the first point of resistance. We'll hold in silence. We can begin to softly wave the foot. Notice if there's a tendency to rush. Give yourself time. Beautiful, both sides of the strap into the left hand. Lengthen the right leg long, right hand to right hip. And left leg out to the side. Only as far as feels good. Begin to explore a very gentle movement of the foot back to the midline slightly and back to where it was. Any rotation of the heel, leg, and foot is also welcome. If you notice tension accumulating, just allow it to dissipate. Best way to stay relaxed is just to shine a light on tension. Just to be aware. Draw your leg back to center, both sides of the strap to the right hand, left thumb to the left crease. Push the front of the left thigh, top of the left thigh, forward and down. Keep the the hip grounded and find that gentle crossbody stretch to the right. Keep the press of the thigh forward and then slowly, just using your right hand, waving the foot to the sky for a final time. If you don't often spend the beginning of your practice moving slowly, there can be a little resistance that surfaces, so allow that to be a part of the experience if that's what you're feeling. For me, a therapeutic start always feels absolutely fabulous. Already, leg back to midline, both sides of the strap, forehead towards the knee, just a very gentle awakening of the core, nothing too intense. Base of the skull is long, hold for 3, hold for 2, and release down for 1. Release your strap. Notice which nostril is easiest to breathe out of. And then roll onto that side into the fetal position. We're going to hold for 10 breaths, concentrating the breath in and out of the nostrils. Feeling the body held. close down your eyes on hands and knees. And bring awareness into the spine. Just before we move, create length. So awareness to tailbone, it moves back. Awareness to crown, it moves forward. From this place of stability and connection, begin to move through your cat-cow. Inhaling to arch, looking high. And exhaling to round, chin to chest, press the hands. So we're really looking for movement patterns that allow loving information to move into the body. So driven from a place of feeling, a place of deep sensation and connection to the body. What is the body telling you? Sometimes the mind is so loud that we can't hear the body. And if that's usually there, that's okay as well. Settle into a neutral spine. Walk the right foot out to the right and the left foot back, grounding the right hand underneath your shoulder. Good, bring the back of your left hand to your sacrum and just slide your tailbone down to lengthen the lower spine and bring activation into the legs. Reach the left hand towards the sky. Beautiful. Gently press the earth away through the right hand and reach the left arm forward, bicep beside the ear. Draw your right hip and your right rib closer towards one another. Take a breath into the left side body as you turn the chest slightly towards the sky. And then as you exhale, lift yourself up. And take your left hand to your left leg. Same thing, left hip and left rib closer together. Open through the right side body. And we're just going to flow between these shapes. You choose the pace. So today I'm going to give you autonomy over your practice quite a lot. And I want you to move at your own pace. There is no right way to move. Trust yourself. So rather than doing particular repetitions, we're just going to hold for a time. And I'll let you know when we transition out. Next time, both hands come down to the ground, both knees come down, second side. Top of the left foot spins to the left, right foot steps back, left hand underneath the left shoulder, back of right hand to sacrum, slide tailbone down, lengthen lower spine, engage legs, reach hand high. Beautiful, press into the left hand, bicep spins forward, and then reach the bicep beside the ear, drawing the left hip and the left rib closer towards one another. Breathe into the right side body. And then lift yourself up. Right hand down to the right leg. Try to drop the right hip so you feel a stretch in the inner thigh. And then kind of draw the rib towards the hip slightly. They can lift. And then flow between your own time. Notice the transitions as well. If there's instability, try to cultivate stability. next time both hands come down to the earth, and we'll meet in a downward facing dog. So this particular practice, I've chosen grounding asanas that allow me to feel connected to the lower body, the foundation of the physical posture. So bring awareness into your hands and your feet. Notice the texture and the touch, the relationship between your body and the earth. Allow it to be steady and joyful. Fix your gaze, smooth your breath. Breathing less. Tensing less, stretching less. Listening. Walk the feet forward, Malasana, yogi squat. The ultimate grounding asana. Asana that is really good for elimination, for letting go, for surrender. For me, in this particular variation, I'm lifting my heels, reaching my hands forward, and just willing my heels in the direction of the earth, but you can take whatever you want. There's no rules. Put your butt towards the sky. Bend your knees and roll up through the spine. Hands to heart center, bow your head. The space between our first posture and here, I want you to notice if you were able to do less. What is your relationship to a grounding practice? Is there a lot of resistance? Or do you feel at home? Neither is right. Simple awareness. Gently release the hands. Step the feet like you're coming into a squat. We're going to come into what's known as an elephant squat. Yeah. So you're going to bring your thumbnails between your eyebrows. Good. And then you're just going to come into a position that's between a chair and a squat. Yeah, and the priority is bringing awareness to the lower body. So don't worry about what the spine's doing. You can lean forward as much as you want. But pressing the feet down and cultivating a connection to the legs. I like to imagine that I was hugging my sit bones, clenching my butt cheeks, and drawing my internal organs up. And just notice how that feels in the legs. 3 breaths. Less tension in the breath. Just breathe naturally. Hands to earth. Step the left foot back. Both hands are on the inside of your right foot. And we're going to take another little flow. Drop your knee down. Good. So from here, we're now again feeling the hands and the feet into the earth. The flow is very simple. With control, slowly lift your back knee. So notice if you lift it really fast, you want to lift it nice and slow today. Lean the body forward through space as much as feels good. Lean the body back through space. And then slowly and with control, lower the knee down. That's it, that's the whole flow. I just want you to continue at your own pace. You can make it really easy and you can make it really hard. You decide. Keep the flow of loving information and make sure the heart rate and breath doesn't change too dramatically. So the emphasis on breathing less is not to hold the breath and make the breath silent, it's just to make the breath easy. Just take one more. Lower the back knee down, flip the back toes, and hands to hips, lift your torso upright. Oh, a bit intense in the old leggies. So you bring your butterfly hands to the top of your pelvis and you slide your pelvis down. From here you bend to your right knee, and then you unbend your right knee. So you choose the depth that you come to. You can be super strict with the spine, so you can keep it kind of rounded and really focus on the strength in the butt crease and the length in the upper spine. Or you can come a little bit deeper and find some depth in the leg, taking full extension through the lower, middle and upper spine. And again, we're just going to spend time here. When we come into these repetitions, sometimes the body can be triggered, the mind can be triggered. Can you stay present to the sensation? Can you make it pleasant and therapeutic? It's a choice, not punishing yourself. Next time you take a deep bend, both hands to earth, flip back toes, lift back knee, and walk into a wide-legged forward fold facing the left. Fold forward, walk your hands off your mat, and a little bit out. I want you to imagine now that your upper body from your waist upwards was underwater and your lower body was above water. So you gently bend into your right knee and you sway your body to the right. You gently bend your left knee and you sway your body to the left. So it's kind of imagining that you feel a little bit of resistance in the body. What we're trying to notice, especially with the breath, is that when we are forceful and when we restrict the breath, it actually activates fight and flight in the body. So just allowing the breath to be natural. If it's a habit to engage Ujjayi, can be really difficult. So just be kind to yourself. There's no need to judge or to be like, oh, I'm doing it wrong. You're just learning how to breathe in a different way. A sense of freedom in the breath, it's not victorious, it's just what is. Trusting in the body's innate wisdom rather than trying to control everything that we do in the practice. Good, come forward, downward facing dog. Chandra Namaskar. So for the Chandra Namaskar, it's a moon salute. Again, grounding. So bend your knees, they hover just off the earth. Wave yourself forward, high plank. Knees lower down. Chaturanga, press up, come halfway down, and then lift back up. Walk your hands back. Come to sit up on the knees and bring your hands to the pelvis. Slide the glutes down, lift the chest and the elbows draw back, and then just lean back through your legs, opening the chest, inhale breath. And then exhale, lift back up, downward facing dog. So that'll be the Namaskar, the sun salute, the moon salute that we do today. When you're ready, walk forward, Malasana. This time I'm going to keep the heels down and hook my armpits over my knees. My gaze still falls where it naturally wants. And I just feel into my feet. So for me, it feels nice to just distribute weight more into one foot, more into the other foot.
Give your body permission to do what it wants as opposed to what I want. And that's what this practice is all about. Ownership over, responsibility over your body. Good, settle in the center, butt high. Bend your knees, roll up through your spine. Keep your feet as they are. Inhale, reach your hands high. Exhale, thumbnails between the eyebrows, elephant squat. Good, so remember, how can you bring heat to the lower body? Maybe it's drawing the butt cheeks towards one another, it's feeling as if the heels drag in, the balls of the foot push out, and the internal organs kind of draw up towards the heart space. 3 breaths. Hands to earth. Step the right foot back. Both hands inside of the left foot. Drop the back knee down. Good, so if you feel any difficulty in the front hip, you just externally rotate your front foot. You can also press your heel down, and that'll help to support you. When you're ready, come through the flow. Gently and with control, lifting your back knee. As you lean forward, press the front heel down so the hip moves away from the thigh. Lean back. And with control, drop the knee. You can close down the eyes and you can notice what's present for you as you continue to flow. Don't punish yourself. If you need to make it easier, you make it easier. You don't have to put yourself through some kind of strength workout to be in flow. Next time you lower your back knee, flip your toes, hands to hips, lift yourself upright. Hands to iliac crest, slide the glutes down. You bend into the front knee. And then you unbend. So remember, you can be more strict, rounding through the lower back, and you won't go as deep, feeling the butt crease really engage. Or as you come forward and down the next time, perhaps you come into full body extension where the knee bends more and the chest lifts. You still have that same security through the leg, support through the front of the body. And just continue to flow. Good, both hands come down. Flip your back toes, lift your back knee, and walk towards the right hand side of the body. Good, take a moment and fold, and then bend your knees and slowly roll up through the spine. So this is a pose in particular that I find a lot of my students, and myself included, it's always like a deeper, let's go more. So in this particular pose, in this particular variation, I only want you to come to a place where you can be completely passive in the shoulders. So it can be difficult if you're less mobile. Yeah? So interlace your hands behind your back. So a little peeling of the corner of the chest just to kind of find an activation of your rhomboids, and then relax your arms to your butt and fully relax your shoulders. Fold forward with your body, and then just take your arms to a place where you can keep them relatively relaxed. So it's all relative, we still need to support ourselves. You're finding this really passive opening, and you're noticing with sensitivity what you feel and where you feel it.
So I find when I come into a passive opening, I really notice any imbalances in my body. Which arm tends to pull more, where my weight distributes in the legs, where I hold on to tension. Can you let go a little bit deeper? Become heavy through the arms. Release them to the earth. Front of the mat. Down dog. Chandra Namaskar, knees hover just off the earth. Wave your body forward, high plank. You can choose to do your chaturanga with knees on or off the mat. And we're going to lift back up. Drop your knees down, walk your hands back. Option to take the first variation, hands come to the pelvis, or option to come to Ustrasana, lean back only if it's with ease, hug the heels in, push the hands out, roll the shoulder blades together, send the chin forward, upper back, support the base of the skull, support through the lower belly, 3 breaths. Lift yourself up, down dog. Steady your gaze. And at this point, I want you to notice if you're bored, if you find the practice boring, if you're not feeling stimulating, or stimulated rather. And I want you to allow that to be a part of your experience. So maybe your experience is that you feel really centered, really grounded, and there's a softness that permeates from the inside of your body. Maybe there's a little frustration, a little resistance to this grounding. Just notice what's going on internally. Everyone responds to the practice differently. Rise up, bend knees, walk forward. Padangusthasana, wrap your peace fingers around the outside of your big toes, inhale, half lift. And then fold. So these are all my favorite grounding asanas. To activate the apana energy, the energy moving down, find a slight pull of the big toes forward and drawing of the sit bones towards one another and up. Elbows move out, shoulders move towards the waist, just to activate the balancing pranic energy at the heart. 3 breaths. Release the big toes and roll up through the spine.
Beautiful, center through the left foot and draw the right sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Vrikshasana, 3 tree pose. Draw your right knee slightly forward, hands to heart center, slightly forward, and then gaze towards your thumbs. So this is a balancing asana where we move our hands very slowly in the direction of the sky, and we keep our gaze fixed on our thumb. Really bring awareness to your standing leg, the grounding that occurs through that leg. If you fall out, allow yourself to fall out. I always say the most advanced variation of Vrikshasana is to fall and not care. The rest is all just bonus. Once you reach your full expression, whatever that is, find length from bottom foot all the way up to arms. If you need to separate the arms to create space in the shoulders, please do so. Take a full breath in. And then step your right foot back, grabbing your block. Setting up for Uttita Trikonasana, side bending variation. So your back toes face diagonally forward, and you take the block underneath your left shoulder. Place your left hand flat on the block.
Look down to your left heel, press it into the earth, and then hug it slightly towards the block, and you'll feel the left leg activate and externally rotate. Keep that, look towards your right foot, press the ball of the foot down and begin to activate the quadricep, the thigh muscles, so you feel a pulling up of the leg. Draw the tailbone down, the chest forward, and then reach the right hand high. Just like we did at the beginning of the practice, draw the left hip and the left rib towards one another, so you'll feel a side body open and beginning. Keep the support through the legs and reach the right arm overhead. Relax the left ear towards the left shoulder to increase the side bend, and then breathe into the right ribs, the right hip. 3 breaths. Right hand comes down. Step the back foot slightly in, slightly out. Pyramid pose. Fingertips to earth. Inhale, half lift. Then exhale, fold. Again, we'll continue to flow here. See if you can wave the spine. Keeping the heart rate low. Both hands to earth, step back down dog. Chandra Namaskar, bend knees, wave forward. Your chaturanga variation. Drop knees, walk the hands back. Keep the heels lifted. Your variation of Ustrasana. 3 breaths. Lift up, downward facing dog. Find an angry cat variation of down dog where you round the spine as much as you can. Chin towards your chest. And then walk your feet forward. Padahastasana, another grounding pose known as gorilla. Slide your hands underneath your feet. Fold in your own time. Take whatever you need to feel the energy moving down into the hands and the feet. That can be some movement in the body. That can be stillness, whatever you want it to be. Release your hands, bend your knees and roll up through your spine. Center your right foot, left foot to the inner thigh. Hands come slightly in front of your body, gaze to the thumbs. In your own time, find a gentle lift of the hands towards the sky. So the intention of this practice is that it doesn't peak, but that you remain in a steady and stable state through the heart and through the breath the entire time. If you fall out of tree, just allow yourself to come back slowly. Don't rush.
Once you find your full expression, reaching from bottom foot, lengthening all the way up to hands. If you need to separate your shoulders slightly for some space, please do so. And then when you're ready, step the left foot back. Sitting up for Trikonasana. Block comes on the inside of the right ankle. Right hand comes down to block. Good, make sure the block is underneath your right shoulder. Left hand to hip, look at your right heel, press it down, draw it energetically towards the block and feel external rotation in your right thigh. Look towards the left foot, push the ball of the foot down and engage the left quadricep. Slide the tailbone down, reach the chest forward and reach the left hand towards the sky. Nice. Draw the right hip and the right rib towards one another as you dig the right heel down. Reach the left arm over your head. Beautiful. As you reach the hand, imagine that someone was pulling your tailbone back and slightly towards the left. And someone was reaching your hand forward and slightly towards the right. Swiveling the chest open by pushing the right hand down. Breathe into the left side body. Keep the breath easy. Left hand comes down to the earth. Step the left foot slightly in and slightly out. Fingertips come down. Pyramid flow, waving through the spine if that feels pertinent for you. Allow it to be therapeutic. Not striving for an aesthetic, but feeling into the body. When you're ready, plant your hands down, downward facing dog. Bend knees, hover them off earth, wave forward, Chandra Namaskar. The variation of Ustrasana, 3 breaths. Lift yourself up, flip your feet over, separate your knees, Balasana, child's pose. Relax your arms, relax your face. Breathe into your lower back. Roll up through your spine. Bring your butt to one side. And take your left side in front. Cross your right foot over your left. Reach your right fingertips back, your left hand high. And then take your left forearm down the outside of your right leg. If that's not available, just give a hug through your right thigh with your left arm. Sit nice and tall and twist at your own pace. Not increasing the breath, not increasing the heart rate, just being natural. comes back to the midline. Just take both fingertips to the ground over the left. Just push the right tricep into the right leg and just twist counter. And back to the midline. Soft side. Now fingertips down, right hand high. Take the forearm down the outside of the left leg. So tall, natural breath. And find an easy twist. Shoulders away from the ears. Left side of the neck long. Move with the breath. Feel the belly soft. Body back to the midline. Going to take a sukhasana fold. So sukha means happy, joyful, easy. Cross the legs whichever way you would like. We're just going to do one today. Fold forward. I'm meeting my head towards support. And relaxing my arm. For me, doing less doesn't necessarily mean that it's a conscious action. For me, doing less means trusting what my body wants and doing that. So as opposed to doing more, I'm just allowing what is. So don't make doing less another form of doing. Doing less is surrendering to what is, as opposed to doing more. There is a difference. Don't use doing less to control. Use doing less to surrender. Yourself up, and we'll take 8 rounds of sitali breath, the cooling breath, either through a curled tongue or gently closed teeth, no clenching of the teeth. 8 rounds. Take a full breath in, a full breath out. Join the teeth or curl the tongue, inhale. Block the right nostril, exhale through the left. That's 1 round. Continue at your own pace. Regardless of where you are, just take one more full round. Sit with the eyes closed. I'm going to finish today's practice in a meditation seat. I will chant the Durga mantra, invoking the power of deity Durga, who cuts away all the things that are no longer serving us. Before I chant, I just want you to bring to your awareness one thing that perhaps you feel you are gripping a little tightly and that you could perhaps loosen during the transition from winter to spring here in Melbourne. What is it that you wish to shed and let go of so that you can step forward with a sense of freedom? And how can you do less to achieve that as opposed to more? Just allow the sound of the chant to wash over you. You to stay in this seat or transition to Shavasana for 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you for joining myself and Chelsea. Namaste.
Namaste.